What's up, InkMaps? I'm Ryan Smith, co-owner of Sullen Clothing, also the creative director, here today to answer a couple questions for you. For those of you who don't know who we are an art-driven lifestyle apparel brand.
Sullen has been around for 11 years, and funny enough, this is actually our anniversary month.
Sullen has been in business now for 11 years. I think the craziest moment so far in Sullen was our 10-year anniversary party. Just kind of stepping back and seeing, wow, this thing's been going on for 10 years and being surrounded by like a bunch of amazing artists and having everyone from Sick Jack and to Be Real from Cypress Hill performing there was really quite an honor. I'd say that was probably the craziest moment so far that I've had with Sullen. It's been really important for us to have genuine tattooers or artists involved in Sullen, because we feel like each one, every artist that we bring on represents the one before it. So for us, although we'll take any no-name artist, the artist has to be representational of the artist that came before it. So we always try to keep the level high, the bar level high, the art level.
We try to make it to where it's mutually beneficial to both parties. You know, we want to actively promote the artists, you know, when they come on board with us.
The artists benefit for their artwork being on our shirts in a lot of different ways. My favorite collaboration so far would have to be the first collaboration that I ever did, which was by far the most successful piece of clothing that we've ever produced, which was the Fallen Angel that I did with Big Gus. I got into the clothing game when I was still at art school. I went back to art school and got a degree in illustration, and right before I was about to finish that degree, I kind of was itching to start something because I really didn't want to work a 9-to-5 position. And you know, I always told myself that if you ever want to make money in art, you have to make it yourself, because no one will appreciate art as much as an artist will. While I was at school, developed the name Sullen and started producing the early pieces. It's funny because when we started, we figured, and that was, 11 years ago, everything was very icon driven and it was very brand centric, and we kind of started that way. And we were fortunate in a sense that my partner had a lot of friends, and so we kind of had a following right out of the gate, which kind of helped us support the first 5 years of the brand. My thoughts on the state of the clothing industry as a whole, I think that there's a lot of progression happening. I think right now people are really trying to find themselves. I think the storied brands, the big brands, they'll always be big. I think everybody's looking for what's new. I think a lot of what was new, you're finding that if you weren't unique and you weren't doing something that was thoughtful and progressive, they're starting to weed out. What sets Sullen apart from any of the other clothing companies that kind of are driven by tattoo artwork is I think that we're probably one of the more authentic, in a sense that like we live the lifestyle that we preach. What inspires my creative direction would be the progression of tattooing. I'm always trying to see, who's pushing it, who is taking tattooing beyond what we saw 10 years ago.
Being one of the owners of Sullen Clothing, it's definitely changed my life. Owning your own business, which anyone who owns their own business, knows, it's the hours that you put into it. I live and breathe Sullen. I lose sleep at night thinking about it. And as I get older, now I'm married with children. I got a 4-year-old little boy and a 6-year-old little girl. I'm learning to turn it off a little bit more. I don't want to be one of those dads where, when my kids are teenagers, they're telling me I was never around, which is the case sometimes. I definitely still work too much and too many hours. but I'm getting better at it. You know, I'm learning to turn the computer off, turn the phone off, get home and spend time with my wife and kids. Sullen is successful, and we've been on a good, you know, growth pattern for the last couple years, and we don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
I think Sullen has affected my life in a lot of ways. You know, to even sit here right now and have you guys interview me, you know, like, it's so cool. All of the opportunities that come through this business and through this industry, you know. When I moved to California, I tattooed professionally in Arizona, and I was just really kind of intimidated by the tattoo scene in California. Until I got in it, I realized how warm it is, at least on the level that I'm experiencing it. You know, the people that I've met through this company, you know, having relationships with guys like Jack Rudy, who, you know, and Corey Miller, who I've idolized since I was, you know, 16 years old.
And now that Sullen is established, and you know, we do have you know, a bigger megaphone to get the word out, we're trying to give back in whatever ways possible. You know, recently we did the Cure Cancer shirts. All proceeds go to fighting cancer. I think we've raised between $10,000 and $15,000 just in the last month with the Cure Cancer shirts. We try to get involved with as many benefit shows as possible. We just did a benefit show with the guys over at Goodfellas Tattoo. All proceeds went to the Tony Oliva's Medical Benefit Fund. And Tony Olivas has been really sick over the last couple months, and he just needs a little bit of help from his friends and family with his medical bill. So we're trying our best to get the word out there and help out in whatever ways possible. You know, I know we do a lot of events with Unconventional Foundation for Autism. 5 years from now, I would say we will still be getting involved with anything that's art-driven. You know. We got some really cool things in the works right now, some documentaries, a movie, get involved with a lot more of the music scene. And, you know, as long as it's art and it makes sense, you know, we're down with it.
I think InkMaps is a great idea. I think it's long overdue. I think it's really good to have a reference for anything that has an excellence to it. Anytime you're searching for something, you know, especially as specific as tattooing, it's really hard to find, you know, a really good reference point for good quality tattooers. And I think that that's really what, you know, this industry needs, is a reference for, you know, the best of the best.
I think InkMaps is a great idea. You know, anything that benefits our family, you know, the artists, the tattoo artists, anything that benefits them, I'm down for. You know, these guys, it's harder than people think. You know, I mean, they may have their pictures all over the magazines and get to travel the world, but they're still hustlers, just like, you know, Ryan and I and the guys from InkMaps. I mean, it's in this day and age, you know, it's not easy.
I'd like to give a shout out to my family, obviously to the Sullen Art Collective, all the artists. I can't name them individually, but we wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for the family of artists that we've been so fortunate to work with. They've all shaped and defined us, and to each one of them I'm forever grateful, because we would be nothing without them.
While I have the opportunity, I definitely have to thank my family. You know, Sullen, it's, like I said, it's been 11 years of many, many, many hours, you know, 60 to 80 hour work weeks with very little pay, but just believing in a dream. We almost threw in the towel so many times, you know, but my family has been there for me. You know, my parents have been there for me mentally, financially, you know. I have not been around as much as I used to be because of this business, but I know that they understand, and I love them for it. You know, all the guys on board, you know, all of our artists, the musicians, the athletes, you know, all the hardworking hustlers, all the intellectuals that we surround ourselves around, you know, they know who they are. out of all the people that I have to thank, most importantly, I have to thank my wife. My wife, Deidre. She's been put through the most. You know, she's my best friend. She's my rock. She's definitely been there for me and been patient, because she's the one at home with the kids wondering, Jeremy, when the heck you gonna be home? Get home and help me out. And I'm like, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and that 20 minutes turns into 2 hours. But baby, I love you. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for listening to all my stories and dealing with my long hours of work. You know, without you having my back, I wouldn't be where I am today.